Bow down before my psycho power.
Now, if we just focus on the ranking system in the past, Tekken 7, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 is what I'm most familiar with, but I know there's other past Tekkens that also had a rank system. But in those two games, you were able to plug, cheat, and just manipulate the system in so many different ways. Tekken 7 more than Tag 2. Tekken 7 was a beast all on its own. It's different levels to it. Xbox and PlayStation, they can only really plug and kind of like that. That's it. You just plug, which that does a lot of damage, but that's all you really can do. PC, on the other hand, they could reset their ranks. If someone got banned, they can unban themselves. They can have a auto low break, a auto throw break, a auto block, it's like auto everything. But then on top of that, the most craziest glitch that I ever heard about in Tekken 7 was the 1% glitch. That's what JDCR called it. Your opponent will hit you one time, and then that damage equals all 3 rounds of health, and they immediately win. On your screen, it looks like they plug, but really they just won the match. And it's crazy, bro. Tekken 7 is a monster. Sort of towards the end of Tekken 7's lifespan, you have all of this chaos happening. You start to hear players say that rank doesn't matter. Top players who are in that Tekken God Prime rank, they share those ranks with cheaters and hackers and pluggers, and as such, they feel like it's nothing of value. So they added a Tekken God Omega to give players something new to strive for, but then also maintaining that rank is very difficult to do, right? So it was just something there that the developers wanted to do to add meaning to the rank. Now, shift over to Tekken 8. Tekken 8 looks at all of this stuff that Tekken 7 dealt with and think, how can we fix this? How can we stop all of this madness? One of the solutions is to limit how many times you can rematch a opponent. In rank, there's a lot of boosting that goes on. All of this stuff that I listed out can fall under the category of boosting. Whether you're plugging to boost your rank, you're hacking to boost your rank, you're cheating, you're doing whatever, you're boosting, you're inflating your rank. About 2-3 years ago when Lydia came out, there was a couple people who got banned for the specific reason of boosting, as according to Michael Murray. So we're hearing this topic once again. We want to stop people from boosting. So they're limiting how many times you can rematch your opponent to a best of 3. In every single Tekken prior that had a ranked match, you were able to infinitely rematch your opponent. And this was really good too, because sometimes you'll run into someone who's just really fun to play against. Like for me personally, back in the good old days of Tekken 7, it was Brian Fury players. I think that Brian Fury versus the Yoshimitsu matchup, the hatchet kick, flash, all of that stuff is really fun to play with. And when you run into one of those people who's using the right character and they're just playing like your style of Tekken, you want to fight them over and over and over again. And that's kind of what happened in rank. You see a lot of content creators, they upload these 20, 30 hour-long videos of them just repeatedly rematching the same person over and over and over. A death match, who truly is the best. That was the mentality of past Tekkens. But with Tekken 8, that no longer exists. I did a poll. Ranked in Tekken 8 should be limited to best of 3, infinite with no limits, or you simply don't care because maybe you don't play ranked or maybe it doesn't matter to you. I voted limited to best of 3 along with 57%. 26% says infinite with no limits. I read a lot of these comments to get an idea of what players' reasonings are, and basically a lot of people say if you can't infinitely rematch someone, of course it affects the content, we talked about that. Of course you can't fight someone over and over again if you find, let's say, someone you like, someone you don't like, a salty run back, whatever. But then also there's a third aspect to that is, what if you want to learn the matchup? You run against a Yoshimitsu and they're just flow charting you to death, but then on that third match you start to understand the pattern, you start to understand the flow that Yoshimitsu is following, and then in the fourth match you think you can stop them. This is what the people were saying, is like they feel like they should be able to infinitely rematch, because why is the game limiting that? If I want to do this, let me do it. And now I get that, I get where those people are coming from. But the reason why I chose limited to the best of 3, this is why. I think ranked should not be a place where you train, learn matchups. Yes, in every instance of playing, you always want to get better. Every shot, every punch, every kick is always trying to strive better to get perfected. That's right. That's how you do it, right? It's a live test of sorts. But that doesn't mean that ranked or tournaments or highly competitive events should not have their own parameters. I would argue that ranked is not the place for practicing. In Tekken 8, they have the Super Ghost AI. After you get done getting your cheeks clapped by the Yoshimitsu, that is where you should go to really try to understand and get better and this and that. I want to take a turn now and look at the 3 most liked comments on this poll. The third most liked says, I feel that if it was increased to best of 5, that would be perfect in the middle compromise for those that like longer matches. The second most liked comment, I think best of 3 is a great decision. I feel like people were taking advantage of infinite rematches in Tekken 7. Now, I am guilty of this, I will admit. Sometimes you come up against someone who you know you can smoke them. 1,000 times it will be 1,000 to 0. Yet, instead of leaving and looking for a tougher opponent, you rematch them. You keep fighting over and over and over, and then eventually you gain a promotion off of them. I'm guilty of this. I've done this. And this is another thing that the developers are trying to fix, because even though this isn't cheating or an exploit, it's perfectly legal in Tekken 7. It allows you to infinitely rematch, so there's nothing against it. But this still falls under a form of, I would say, legal boosting. So Tekken 8 is trying to wipe away all of that, legal and illegal boosting. The topmost liked comment on this post, and I really hope the developers see this because I think this would be the true solution. It says, best solution I feel is to make the best of 3 a ranked set. Then if both parties rematch, it then goes to player match from then on until they stop. This would possibly be the best solution. If you're in ranked match or ranked whatever and you're fighting someone and both of you guys want to continue past, then ranked should no longer be involved. Something about this that I think is very true as well is there is no wrong answers here. Whether you want infinite rematches or best of 3, there really is no wrong answers. Both sides have a lot of good arguments and counter arguments to the other. The only thing that I think is important is which side is louder. The developers of Tekken, they showed us that they will listen when the community speaks. So right now on this issue, it's a little bit divided. Whichever side speaks loudest is what they'll go with. Now let's say the developers did want to make a change. I think they should wait at least 1 year, season 1 of Tekken 8 before they do so. Let the game come out, let the players get a feel for it, let's see how players interact, the statistics, the data, the content, let's see what happens. But then in season 1, if it's chaos, then simply flick a switch and then go back to how it used to be. In the closed network test, the best of 3 was kind of fun, but I did feel the limits of it. When the full game comes out and there's many different other ways to play the game, will I still feel those limitations? That is the question that I want to find for myself.